Good afternoon, YouTube. Old Rusty here again. Walk back, forth, yes. All right. Quick little video today. So, the issue that we had with buttons preventing spider spawns, or I should say the bug where they stop preventing spider spawns, that has been fixed. So all of your creeper farms should be good to go back together again. As long as you have your buttons laid out in the proper pattern, every other row skipping a space so that 1/4 of the 2x2 at any given moment is there. A spider cannot spawn. That's good. Turns out though they made some other changes to buttons that kind of wrecked my copper farm. May have wrecked some of other people's raid farms if they're by Stoic Epoch. A lot of farms by Stoic Epoch. Why? Minecart activator rails. I love this concept. It's directional. But you know, if you didn't know, minecart conveyors, they will move mobs at 20 blocks a second. And it's a beautiful thing. It's so fast. Now, what used to be happen before this button shenanigans would be that when you drop a mob in, that button would act as a solid block as far as the game was concerned, and you would be able to spawn stuff in. So if I put a solid block here, watch. Now it has to be a solid block. The game checks. It would throw it out there, but it can't because right here now, there we go. See, like they don't know what to do without that there. Now, I've tried a variety of things. You know, you think, oh, maybe powdered snow will work. No, it won't. Buttons won't work. Coral fans won't work. Coral fans will still work in buttons for purposes of, you know, tricking those mobs into walking off, but it's not going to throw them anymore. So what are some options here that we can do to mitigate this? So if it's got to be a solid block the game's going to check, well, let's give them one. A couple little quick options we can do. Because see, what'll end up happening, if this thing wasn't moving, it could just stand right there forever. You get a couple in there, they might shove each other off. But what if I want this to be, you know, more reliable? So, a couple options you have. A piston. Extended counts. Case in point. It's not as entirely reliable because it is possible for, if that piston is closed whenever it hits there, it may throw it off a little bit. But this is pretty good. An observer clock is a good way to do it. So is a comparator clock. The more rapidly it's opening and closing, I'd say probably the better. Another option you have, this one I'm rather fond of, gates. A gate, when you put a redstone in it, is going to toggle open and closed. And it works really good. So the problem with doing gates is your typical method of powering that minecart would be to come at it from underneath, like I've done with all these redstone blocks. The problem here is if I put a redstone block underneath, or power the block underneath the railing, then it's gonna also power the gate, and at which point the gate's gonna stay closed. So you kind of have to move it off to the side a little bit. This redstone is now powering this minecart. You just have to play around with where you're putting your lever or your redstone source going in. But this is a perfectly viable option to get it done. Pistons are also good. I would imagine the piston's more laggy overall than the gate, but either one really is going to work. Certainly better than the, oh, I don't have any options. I really want them to go in the hole. Now, another option that I think should be considered here is water. If you didn't know, rails can in fact be placed underwater. Now, what can't happen is it be placed in flowing water. That is the big catch there. So if I just take any normal rail, right, we're good there. And I can even waterlog this block. But if I do this and try to place it, it'll pop every time. Now, as long as it's a water source block, we're good. Now, if I were to, say, put these down and then go and waterlog one of them, then the other one's going to break, of course. So we don't want that either. So if you're going to do the water method, you're going to want to waterlog all your source blocks for your whole chain till the end. So what this leaves me with is, well, I have this block right here. Ooh, and I just broke my farm. Kind of, sort of. We'll fix it real quick. There. Get my minecart back. See, flowing water. It's an old rusty thing. I'll mess something up every video, no matter how simple. But what this does is it's just going to push my mobs along until that last block. Well, this is a solid block. And then the water's just going to push. I think the big advantage of this, if you can work this, is the natural inclination is always going to be to flow. Whereas I may end up in a position where if this isn't constantly opening or closing, or this happens to be open at the time that I send them through, it could mess things up. Maybe they get caught there in the end. But this is always just going to push them along. So if you have the option of using water streams, in my copper farm, this is what I ended up implementing. But I already had everything waterlogged anyway. My activator rails with activator rails and mine carts with waterlog. Let that last block there just be flowing water. This is probably the least laggy, so most efficient on especially lower end devices. These other methods work. I think I would, oh, no, I want that. I think if I had to pick one here, I would go with the water, followed by the gate. The piston can work. The piston makes it to do redstone a little bit easier. Any one of these options. So if you find yourself in a farm where you're trying to use activator rails, and your buttons are no longer working, and your mobs are no longer being ejected, because he's just chilling right there. They may walk off occasionally. The game, watch. The game, I don't even think counts glass half the time as being a solid block to get on. But if you put this right here, the game just doesn't know what to do. Put it here. That'll probably work then. Woo. Yep. Give it something to go on. In this case, yeah, we're good. Or gate. My preferred water flow. Plus, it's just kind of funny watching these things with water. Minecarts and water, the way to go. But clock, put a clock on the open and closing the fence gate. Piston also works. That was it. If you find yourself using minecart, conveyor, and activator rails, and you need to drop your mobs into a pit, use a gate, use a piston, or good old water. Old Rusty out.